Hi everyone and welcome. We're already well into our third month of the financial year and the year is whizzing past. So an opportune time to update you on where we are both against our financial budgets and sales targets for the first 2 months of the year. Unfortunately, August wasn't a great start. Sales in both our Uber bond business and our aggregation business were behind where we'd hoped. Probably a function of everyone pushing so hard for the July numbers. But September we saw a much better bounce back. Both our aggregation business and our insurance business were nicely ahead of budget in sales. And our Uber bond business was within a whisker of the budget. So a much better month in September. And if we look at the financially for the first 2 months of the year, despite being quite a bit behind in our Uber bond sales, financially relative to budget, we are slightly ahead of budget. So all is not lost. And October is generally, it's a 23-day month. It's normally one of the big months that we have in the year. So far in October, the numbers are looking good. We're tracking online with budget. So yeah, it's not looking as bad as the sales numbers are reflecting. Maybe just to reflect on our Uber bond sales and why things are slightly behind. If we look at our intake of applications and our average bond size, they're both looking good, very much in line with budget. The challenge we're having is in the conversion rates. And if we unpack that a little bit, it's coming as a result primarily of increased decline rates from banks. And that's primarily a result of more affordability declines, which is impacting our approval rate. And over and above that, we're seeing banks make more lower LTV offers, and the consumers struggling to come up with those extra deposits that they hadn't expected. So lower conversion rate, as I said, as a result of those two factors, slightly higher bank decline rates as a result of affordability, and consumers struggling to come up with deposits on lower deposits. So that's what's impacting conversion rate. And those are all statistics or facts which point to where we are in the economy. Things are definitely slowing. And the consumer is just struggling from an affordability perspective. Generally, for most consumers, salaries are probably growing at a slower pace than many of their household expenses. So if you look at things like electricity and food, those things are growing generally quicker than people's salary increases. And if you couple that with interest rate increases that we've seen, as well as growing house prices, it's really making consumers who wanting to get onto the property ladder a little bit challenged. We also expect to see a further interest rate increase before the end of the year, probably another 25 basis points before the end of the calendar year. And that's going to make the conversion rate challenge prolong well into next year. So what are we going to do to make sure we can pick up the slack from a slightly lower conversion rate and make sure we hit our targets and budgets this year? The key focus has to be on applications. We simply have to do more bond applications. And the big opportunity there sits in our hundreds and hundreds of customers that every month in our shareholder channels alone choose to go to their own banks directly instead of using our Uber service. So I would like to challenge you over the coming months to take our Uber Advantage. You all know about our Uber Advantage, the 33% better chance we can give those consumers who go to their own bank directly by being able to take them to multiple banks. I'd ask you please to, even if it's just 2 or 3 customers extra a month, I challenge you to try and convince those customers who say to you, I want to go to my own bank directly, to get them to use Uber service and to give them that Uber Advantage. It'll make a significant difference to our numbers. So thank you and best of luck.